Hello, my name is Bernard Sabiziak, and the National Disability Coordination Officer Program is proud to present a free accessible vodcast, a guide to tertiary education for multicultural communities and mature age students with disability. This vodcast is for all multicultural and mature age students with disability who are undertaking or hoping to study in tertiary education and those who support them. During this vodcast, you'll hear directly from sector experts and students who will share their knowledge of the unique challenges faced and provide information on how to navigate and successfully complete your post-school education journey. Joining me today are Carol Davis from TAFE. Carol has been in the disability industry for over 35 years, working from frontline to CEO position in a multi-service facility for people with disability. Carol has over 20 years teaching and head teacher experience in community services, specifically teaching qualifications in disability. Carol also set up and implemented traineeship training in Certificate 3 and 4 in disability, and Carol has been employed for 5 years in her current role as teacher consultant for students with disability. Carol is still involved in the industry as an informal advocate for a woman with disability and does the odd bit of consultancy with organisations. Also joining us today is Inga Rosenberg, the principal at Hornsby Ku-Ring-Gai Community College. She's worked for previous 5 years as client relations, coordinating the adult community education program for learners with barriers to study and work. Also joining us is Mohammed, who is a 30-year-old man who lives with cerebral palsy. Mohammed has completed a Certificate 3 in community services, is almost completed Certificate 4 in disability work, just completing the workplace component, and currently enrolled in Diploma of Community Services. He has also done some work with Northcott and in advocacy. And our final member of the panel today is Kim, and Kim commenced studies as a mature age student, and her educational pathway included the completion of several courses. For example, Certificate 1 in Information, Digital Media and Technology, Certificate 2 in Business, and Certificate 3 in Business Administration. Since Kim is passionate about helping others, she has volunteered in one of the Disability Foundation's skills groups, assisting the trainer. From there, Kim decided to pursue a career as a teaching assistant at Ku-Ring-Gai College, where they referred her to another community college, where she is now in the process of completing her studies. Kim will speak about her experience as a mature age student and her work assisting students with a disability, mostly intellectual, but also non-verbal and behavioural. So we might gear our first question towards Mohammed and Kim. So why did you decide to study in tertiary education?
For me in particular, I wanted more, and I felt that what I was currently doing, I wasn't developing enough. And for my future aspirations, I wanted to be able to get a job, and in order for me to do that, I needed the right qualifications. And so I decided, why not give it a go, and just see how it goes. If I fail, I could always just try again next time. So that was my thought process behind it.
Okay, and what about you, Kim?
After being a carer for some years, I felt that I really lacked technical skills, Microsoft software, etc. So I saw a notice in the local paper or whatever, and contacted the college, and I wanted a bridge to being able to work again. And it was a wonderful process, just felt very supported, etc. But you have further questions. So then I realised, well, there was more to do. So hence I went on further. And I did assist for 18 months or so.
That's excellent. And how did you guys find the enrolment process? Did you face any challenges with the process, for example, communication, culture?
For myself, I think at the start of I was my own biggest barrier, just because it was my first time enrolling. It was my first time doing my paperwork, and I was so nervous, about starting, and so I felt like I was my own biggest barrier. But as soon as I got over that, the enrollment process was quite easy, and it was quite straightforward for myself.
Okay. And Kim, what about yourself?
I know what you mean. I felt like I was my own greatest barrier as well, but the college made the process so easy. The advice and the assistance in getting all the forms done, etc., was just an easy process, and part of their culture really of support.
Right, okay. And what about disclosing the disability when you enrolled? How did that make you feel?
Well, for myself, I felt like it was important to disclose my disability, as it will help me get the right level of support that I needed, and also it would allow my teachers to be aware of my limitations, and how they can better support me. So I think it's really important to disclose. Maybe if you're not comfortable disclosing your entire disability, but disclosing at least some of it, so people are aware of what you need as well.
Okay, very good, very good. And when you enrolled, were you able to apply for any recognition of prior learning, which is commonly known in community colleges and TAFEs as RPL? How did you find the process? Did anybody experience that?
Well, I actually applied for my RPOs this year, because I actually done a few units this year, so it was actually quite easy to apply for my RPO, and Carol was able to assist me with that as well.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Good news. Okay, and how did you learn of the supports available to support you to study?
Well, at first I called the TAFE, and they said to me, it's better to put you in touch with our disability consultant, which was Carol, and so I made an appointment, and I went to Carol. We spoke about my disability, we spoke about the type of support I require. And she's like, yeah, no problem. We'll get you enrolled. We'll tell the teachers. And at first I started doing it part-time because it was my first time studying, so I wanted to ease into it. But yeah, then it was really easy in terms of getting the support that I needed.
Great, excellent. And this question for both of you, I guess, did you find your course was flexible and met your needs?
I feel like it was quite flexible. I feel like the teachers were quite understanding. For example, last year I had an emergency surgery, and I just informed the teachers that something happened, and that I wouldn't be able to attend class for several months. They said, yeah, no problem. Come back when you're well, and you can catch up.
Oh, excellent. Terrific. And were you able to study the course you wanted to study?
Yeah, I think I was.
Good. Good.
I'd just interject there just a little bit. Just in terms of Mohammed, when he said that he was the barrier, it was a confidence thing when we started. And then it was through chatting and talking about the course and then structuring the support that he was able to realise that there wasn't a lot of weaknesses, there's a lot of strengths with Mohammed. And so we're always able to, we work very closely, so we're always able to tweak the support. But Mohammed is a great advocate for his own needs as well. So he's able to keep in contact. So that's really important with students, that they, number one, disclose or make the contact with the support, whether it's a TC, a TAFE or Inga's position, because then we can put supports, and then I work with the students to adjust it along the way as the needs change. So originally Mohammed wanted to do it slower, so we did it a bit slower. Then the next course, because he's completed one course, moved on to the next course. So we try and adjust it with the students. So it's really important that they do contact and touch base with the TC.
I guess Carol just touched on there, Inga. So what was the process like from a community college point of view if you disclose a disability? How's that process for you guys?
For me, the process was simple. You know, I just like I said before, I just told them this is my disability, these are some of my limitations. And then I asked what supports can we put in place in order to make sure that I'm able to keep up with my class and better interact with the class. And so Carol came back, she said we can put a note taker, we can do part-time to start off with. And she said, as you build more confidence, we can adjust it as we go.
Excellent. And Inga, I might just throw this question to you because you're coming up from an adult community education point of view. What's the process like for you guys?
So I think it's quite similar to what TAFE does. So we do try to encourage everybody to disclose their disability and support needs at the time of enrolment, because that does allow us then to put the correct measures in place from the beginning. That's, for example, how Kim came in, because we have obviously in some of our mainstream classes, we have students with a disability, but Kim came into play, help us out for a particular group of students. They all came together from the same high school, and that was a high school for students with intellectual disabilities. And Kim was then part of that support system because there were quite high support needs required in the class. So Kim came into the classroom to assist the trainer there. Yeah. But obviously, if somebody does not disclose support needs at the beginning and that sort of just comes to light a bit later on, then we are here to work with our students on implementing the right measures then at that time.
Excellent. Thank you, Inga. And are you able to change your course if you find you're unable to manage your studies?
Yes, for example, when I started my diploma, if I realised, look, it's a bit too much for me, doing full time, I can always either, go part time or entirely change my course path. And in order to do that, I would speak to Carol, but like, I'm not coping too much. With the current course that I'm doing, what other options are available?
Okay, excellent. Did you need or have you used a support person to assist you on campus or in the classroom?
In terms of what? In terms of?
Were you able to bring a support person into the classroom with you?
No, because it's not. That's not what they're there for. They're there for your personal care needs. So, besides that, they usually just stay outside the classroom.
Yeah, I guess we asked that question because we just want people to understand that the differences between supports and a support person. So, yeah, I mentioned before about note taker, having a note taker in the room with you, as opposed to a support person who looks after personal care needs. Yeah, so that's why we asked that question. And sorry, Carol, everyone's busting there.
Go ahead, Inga, and I'll answer after you.
I was just going to say, but generally speaking, if somebody does have a support worker and likes to have that support worker in class with them, that's definitely something that is possible.
Yeah, thank you, Inga.
So what we try and do is just differentiate. So I use note takers and disability assistants to help with the actual educational part. So they're in the classroom, clearly they're employed by TAFE. But if in the example of Mohammed, he has a support worker that might help with personal care needs. So generally he doesn't really need the support person in the classroom, so they might hang around in the TAFE canteen, etc. And the reason I encourage it, it's not a blanket no, because sometimes the support person may be there to do other things other than educational, and that's okay. But it's more because our perspective is that we want the experience to be about Mohammed, so that the interactions with Mohammed, sometimes what happens when you have a support worker and the other students end up directing conversation to the support worker. So we really want the focus on the student and for the student to have the full experience. But that's dependent on each individual, because some people with disability may need the support worker there for, to assist with, pulling things out of their bag, whatever. So it depends on the student and the need. So it's really about not being restricted.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you, Carol. And this is to both of you, Mohammed and Kim. So are your studies a pathway to future employment?
Definitely for me, yes.
Yeah, definitely. I'd have to say that definitely for me as well. Because I have this, because I'm doing this current, qualifications. I'm currently in the process of getting a casual position at one of my former organizations that I used to be part of the day program. So yeah, I feel like this qualification definitely helped me.
Okay, fantastic. And have you found employment related to your area of study? Obviously you have, by the sounds of it.
Well, in the process.
Working on it.
Yeah, in the process. Yeah.
In the process.
Yeah. But I will say this though, when you're looking at job sites, and it's still very difficult to get a job, because a lot of the ads that you see on the job, so they want 5 years experience.
Yeah, that's right.
But how are you meant to get that if you've just gone into the industry, And so it can make it very difficult to actually get a job, because they want experience. But no one's willing to give you that experience.
Yes, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Whereas for me, I'm prac teaching at the moment, or practice assisting at a primary school. So I hadn't had that experience at a primary school before.
Oh, wonderful.
It is.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I guess now with your study experiences at TAFE and at Ku-Ring-Gai College, are you thinking about undertaking any further study after the experiences you've had?
Well, not necessarily. I have a particular interest in helping people with learning disabilities, and I'm finding that I'm using that. I can sort of pick problems a little more easily, etc. And I think of different ways of assisting and just adding value to people. But no, at this stage, I think I'll just concentrate on what I've achieved and further to go.
That's right. Inga won't be offended if you don't go back into another course.
Well, Inga pointed me in the right direction.
I was going to say, Kim has studied now for quite a while, so I think her focus is now on getting the job.
Getting the job and getting the experience. Yeah. No, I'm only teasing there. And what about you, Mohammed?
Look, I'm 50-50, and I want to do at least one more course, but I also want to focus on getting a job as well. So it's still a bit up in the air at the moment, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do after this. So we'll just see where it takes me and go from there, I guess.
Very good. And what about any advice you'd have for someone looking to study in the tertiary education sector? Any advice?
Look, the best advice I can give for anyone looking to study for the first time or looking to go back to study is just give it a go. And worst case, you don't enjoy it, but best case you enjoy it and you keep going. There's no right or wrong way to start studying. Everyone starts studying at their own pace, at their own time, and it just depends on the person's circumstances. You know, so the best advice I can just have fun with it, and you know, and just be yourself, and you know, do the best you can.
Fantastic. And what about you, Kim?
Well, I think it's a great process, and I had value in relating to other people in the class. So we all, you know, assisted each other, and that was a wonderful experience. But online, for instance, I was helping behind the scenes on chat, etc., knowing the capabilities or the levels of issues that the various students had. So there was a range of not just learning difficulties, but things like Tourette's, cerebral palsy, etc. I knew how the students could communicate or whatever. So a measure of support is good, but not essential, depending on the teacher. Yeah.
And I might throw that question at Carol and Inga as well. What advice would you give to anyone looking to study in the tertiary education sector?
Sorry.
I just watched the microphone.
I was going to look, I'm very much about give it a go, because for a long time, I think tertiary education hasn't been open to a lot of people with disabilities, and now we are more open. And I think, and don't be scared, like Mohammed said, give it a go, touch base, make connections with the support, because we're there to reduce any impact and also to make the ride a bit smoother. But as I said, Mohammed's a classic example of that. He started off being a bit concerned, am I going to be able to do this, all that sort of stuff. And he's really, I'm not just saying it because Mohammed's here, but he's actually a star pupil. He's always goes assessments before everyone. In fact, I had feedback saying that when Mohammed was off, the class was very quiet. So he's very, very great participant, very, you know, a great ambassador for students with disability coming to TAFE. So my advice would be give it a go. You know, get your information, go to, I mean, at TAFE, we've got career counsellors. So come and speak to a career counsellor, work out where you go. You know, have a chat to the TC before you start, because sometimes it's also about making sure that you don't jump in the deep end, that you know, there's pathways. So yeah, so I just think give it a go. You can come and chat to us and help us make your, you know, give you information so you can make an informed decision.
Excellent, Carol, thank you. And what about you, Inga? Have we got any additional advice to that?
Give it a go. Again, as Carol said, come in and have a chat to us if you're not sure, and there is lots of different pathways available. I think a lot of people are scared of signing up for a course that might run over half a year or a year, and it's not the only way. We can break studies down. You don't have to immediately commit to a full qualification. You can start with a unit or two. There's government funding available for most students who come to us. So there is a lot of different options. And I think, yeah, just pick up the phone or come in and have that chat.
Excellent, thank you. And I think you all raised that key point about the amount of flexibility that's in training now with the online and the physical training and the supports in place. That's right, give it a go. I can't really say much more than that. I think you've summed it up beautifully, all of you. Thank you.
No, I would add one thing there.
Sorry, Kim.
Yeah, and that is, in giving it a go, you get more confidence anyway. You slowly build your skills till it becomes faster and easier. And there's so much value in that, because you can gain as a person regardless of the qualifications you gain.
Yeah. And also, just to add to that as well, you know, the funny thing is that because we have so much life experience, you know, we're able to give it a bit more depth, and you know, and just go beyond what's on the paper, you know, and you know, and the people are often surprised about how much we actually know because we have so much life experience. You know, so it gives people a different perspective on us as individuals, you know, as well.
Yeah, that's right. And what I'm hearing there is that common theme of the support you get when you're in a group. That, you know, that helps you build that confidence, and you know, you start And I know how that is, because particularly when you're doing something like online training, to be in that group at first, you think, oh, this is all a bit daunting, because the way we used to study was somebody would talk and we had a book, but then you're just amazed how quick people pick it up, studying all these different ways. So it is very important. Okay, with that, I would just like to say thank you to our panel today for your time and expertise today. The National Disability Coordination Officer Program thanks you for watching this podcast and hopes you gain some tips for your future studies. And we wish you every success in your future endeavours. Thank you very much.
Thank you.